Hello, I'm a Jamaican living in Argentina, and I'm going to share with you my experience of trying to go to Cuba and how I ended up in Argentina. Now, when I was finishing up community college in Jamaica, I wanted to, broaden my horizon. I wanted to go to a different country to study medicine. I wanted to be a doctor at that time. I was just going with the flow. So I did the SATs to try to go to the States. I wasn't, no, was I communicating with Canada at the time? No, but I was still searching around. And then I also applied for the QM program. No, I had known someone who had studied in Cuba, or two persons who had studied in Cuba, and I was communicating with them, asking them, what the experience was like, and they were like, it's good. The teaching is good, but it's difficult. The living situation is a bit difficult, so you should know if it's something that you'll be able to handle. So I was like, yeah, I'm a tough girl. I've been through it. I think I can handle this. So I went to the interview and I think it was like a panel of about five or six persons. I don't remember. And one of them asked me, what do you know about Cuba? Now, me in my innocence, I responded, Cuba is not that modern, but see, I was going to go on to say that it's rich, culturally and all of that. But there was a Cuban guy there. I think he was probably from the embassy, representing the embassy. And he was not pleased that I said that Cuba wasn't modern. So he just pretty much started just saying some things in Spanish, which I didn't understand because at the time I didn't speak Spanish. And he was just going off and off. And I just felt so bad. It's like, I didn't mean to be disrespectful or to hurt your feelings. But I was just thinking that based on what I've seen or heard about Cuba, it's just that it's not very modern. But I was going to say, talk about the good things about the country, but he didn't allow me. So he just started to talk about asking me, like, how many airports are in Jamaica or something like that. There are two airports in, or there are more than that in Cuba, something like that. And he just started to, like, just comparing Jamaica and Cuba. Obviously, I was not accepted because of that. And then I think a few other things too. But I left the interview disappointed, but at the same time, I kept on trying because I wanted to live in a foreign country and I wanted to study in Spanish. Now, after that Cuban saga and the SATs not working out and nowhere else that I checked out worked out, so I went to UE and that didn't work out. But after leaving, I was talking with a friend and she told me that she was living in Argentina. I was like, wow, Argentina sounds good. I didn't know anything about Argentina before coming here. But I was like, it sounds like it's like could be one of those like really nice places that are not yet discovered. And I knew someone who was here. So I was like, okay, that sounds like a good opportunity. Let me just come over here in Argentina. And it's funny how Argentina worked out because I wasn't looking for it, but it popped up. Sorry. And it was like it was like the perfect opportunity in the sense that I wanted to live in a foreign country. Argentina provided that. I wanted to study in Spanish. Argentina provided that. And also, as it relates to, getting into the faculty, it was like a really, it was what it would be like, it was convenient to me at the time, considering, other factors like financially and like academically. So I was like, okay, Argentina it is. This seems like the place that God wants me to be. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Cuba. I love Cuba. It's my dream to visit Cuba. So it's still my dream. Every time I go back to Jamaica, I need to book a trip to Cuba. Let's see when I'll actually be able to go. And as it relates to Argentina, I just find that, sometimes in life you are looking at a certain direction and you think that this is going to be my saving grace. And God says, no, that's not it. I have something else, something better for you, because I think that Argentina is a better fit for me than Cuba would have been. So when one door closes, girl, another door opens. So you just wait your turn. Yeah, I just want to say that my experience in Argentina has not been perfect. It's been a rocky road. Sometimes I wonder why I'm even here or if I should still be here. But, I have learned so much. I've grown. I've obtained many things that probably are not necessarily tangible, but like I've grown. So even though it's been difficult and I'm still not done with that degree, but I still feel hopeful and still feel like this was the place for me to be at this moment. I'm not sure where I should be in the future, but I know that for right now, I think Argentina was the place or is the place. Okay, so right now I'm just going to compare Argentina with Cuba. Obviously, I have never been to Cuba. I didn't go to Cuba, But based on what I have been, seen, heard, what I think would be the advantages and disadvantages of my experience in Cuba, what would have been, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of living in Argentina. The first advantage of living in Cuba is that Cuba is close to Jamaica. Cuba is our closest neighbor. So it would have been much easier for me to just hop from Cuba to Jamaica, from Jamaica to Cuba. And I just feel like I would have been more at a better place, like mentally, knowing that my home is close by. Because it can be difficult when you're just so far away for so long and doing it on your own. Let's talk about the Caribbean culture in Cuba, similar to Jamaica, in terms of food and otherwise. So it would have been easier for me to adjust to the culture, because I think because the food, I could find the things that I would probably eat in Jamaica, and culture would be more like very well, here's informal too, but it would be more hot, more lively. And let's not talk about the climate. I think Cuba is tropical as well, but I can imagine I don't experience like real cold there, winter or anything like that. So it's always tropical. The beach is there. Could always like just go to the beach. It's always warm and sunny. Here, I'm not talking about Cuba right now. So yeah, so I wouldn't have to be getting winter clothes and just adjusting to the cold, experience gloomy weather and stuff like that, because I don't like the cold at all. It's cold now. Another advantage would have been that the medical school in Cuba is like of a high quality. You always hear that the Cuban doctors are really good. They really attend to their patients. They're not so much into the whole, money or fame or status. It's, about caring for people. And Cuba is always, sending volunteers, sending doctors to countries that need it and stuff like that. So that's always a good thing. Now, a disadvantage is that, it would have been probably challenging economically, because we know that, certain things are not like really, how do I say this without offending anyone? Like, we know that things can be rough financially in there. So, and not like I'm coming from wealth or anything, but it's just that, when you're going through certain things at home, it's not the same as going through it in another person's country. So I think that would probably have been a challenge for me. And we know that science and medicine, it's always growing advanced and stuff like that. And every country is trying to try to see how best they can keep up, especially with the first world countries. But I think that because Cuba has, kind of like built their own system, and it works for them. But I'm not sure, like, if I were supposed to leave from that system to go to another system that's a lot more advanced technologically, like how it would work. So that would have been like a concern. And since Cuba is an island, just like Jamaica, it would have been hard for me to travel to other countries. I would have to like go on a plane and travel, So traveling to other countries would have been a challenge. And I'll explain why. You'll see why when I talk about Argentina. Oh, this, relates to a point that I mentioned before. But just having like certain opportunities that I've had here in Argentina would have been difficult. One of them mainly being like going to get my US visa. That would have been impossible in Cuba. Other things like just going out all the time to like, eat out and stuff. Other little opportunities here and there. It's like, I don't think I would have had them if I were there. So, yeah. Now you'll realize that the cons of Cuba will be the pros of Argentina, and the pros of Cuba will be the cons of Argentina. So yeah, Argentina is like not a first world country or anything, but I'm amazed that they actually put certain effort into, advancing. And as it relates to their faculty, it depends on the faculty. Some faculties are a lot more advanced than others. And as it relates to like their apartments and stuff, they're constantly just improving on them. They're like, you go in some apartments and like, wow, this looks really nice, out of this world. So they're definitely a country that's advancing in certain areas. And Argentina has been going through a crisis. Inflation, I think, is over 100%. But at the same time, they're still in a better position economically than probably in other countries, because these people still be living. And also the fact that when I just came here, they were pretty stable. So that would have been like a factor that I consider to be in favor of Argentina. Now let's talk about traveling. Since I've been to Argentina, I've traveled to Chile, Uruguay, Brazil, been to both Chile and Brazil twice, and I've traveled within Argentina itself. So it's like, because Argentina is on a continent, it's easier for you to just go on a bus and go to these countries, and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. And they have also a very efficient bus system that travels between provinces or states. So it's very pretty easy for you to just, get up and just like, okay, I'm just gonna go somewhere today. Argentina is known for its diversity. It has, like, probably hundreds of years ago, many persons came from Italy, Spain, I think Germany as well, Russia, Syria, all over. They came from all over to Argentina, and that helped to, like, develop like a little cultural melting pot. And now you have a lot of persons coming in from Haiti, Chile, not Chile so much, Haiti, Brazil, and you have people from other Venezuelans. A lot of Venezuelans recently coming. You have a lot of Colombians too. So it's like that is just opening up opportunities for people to just have a rich cultural experience. I've never been to Colombia, and I've never been to Venezuela, I've never been to Germany, Italy, those places, but here in Argentina, I can have get a taste of those cultures because you have a good representation of those countries here. And also, I'm learning like a few things. Like I can say a few things in like Haitian Creole. Sak passe nak boule, gade sak passe la. And like I can. Portuguese is another thing too because there's so many Brazilians here. Como vai, gente? Tudo bem? Tudo ótimo? Tudo legal? One of the cons is that Argentina is so far from my family, from everything that I know. Most of the people that I know are in the north. Argentina is in the south. So Jamaica is so far. The United States is so far. So I'm just always like, okay, I'm just stuck here. And it's so expensive for me to go to the places that I go home that I end up being here for so many years without being able to go home because it's just too far away. And because it's so far away, it's so different culturally. Like you have Argentina over here and then you have Jamaica over here. It's like they're two different worlds, and it's just so hard, moving from one to the other because they're so different. Like there are very few things that I could think of that both countries share. And if you're interested in the differences between Argentina and Jamaica, I did a video talking about almost 60 things that are different, so you can go and check that video out. So yeah, so I had to get adjusted to the culture, and I'm still getting adjusted to the culture because you just never stop getting adjusted to the culture because it's just something new every day. I do not like winter. I don't like the cold. And that's something that I have to deal with every year in Argentina because they go through the 4 seasons. And that also results in me having to have different clothes for different seasons. And that's just like too much. And I don't like putting on layers and layers of clothes. I don't like when it's gloomy outside, that there's no light coming in. I need it. I'm a Caribbean girl. I need a light to function. So that's just, one of the things that I would say is a disadvantage of coming here, having to deal with this cold all the time. But I do like the winter fashion though. I think it's really cute and trendy to see people all decked out. But when you're not really up to the fashion the level of that fashion, then you can look a bit, But I like to see people nicely put together in winter. But I don't like to feel the cold. And I like the fact that it snows in like the south of the country. So whenever I get the chance to, I definitely would like to experience the snow. Okay guys, so this is where I end the video today. Let me know if you are a Jamaican living in Cuba, if you're in Cuba, or if you were planning on going to Cuba, or if you're in Argentina, whatever it is, just let me know what's going on here, and take care, and I'll see you in the next video.